Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is starting to bounce from this exact level of support in the short term after obviously just playing out a rejection in the short term, as the Bitcoin liquidation heat map is now revealing more liquidity building just above the price of Bitcoin, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside Ethereum, which is still struggling around this key area of resistance and also still flashing this short-term warning signal, while the price of Solana is also struggling around resistance, alongside the price of Chainlink doing the same, starting to reject from key resistance. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and currently the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bullish trend, also known as a bull market. And if we're taking a look at this weekly time frame, at least for now, the weekly Bitcoin MACD is still showing bullish momentum, but not necessarily a massive resurgence in bullish momentum. So obviously not a lot has changed in this indicator on this time frame over the last couple of days here. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, at least for now, obviously we have higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI, which is technically a bearish divergence. And so this is still a warning signal to watch out for on the larger time frames, but of course in the immediate short term, we can see short-term bullish moves, short-term bearish moves, depending on what the shorter term time frames are looking like, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But first, taking a look at this daily time frame, and of course when it comes to resistance and support to watch out for, we do have a lot of resistance at close to 110,000, and also I would expect some resistance at around 112,000. And as for support, I would expect some support at close to 107,000, and below that major support in between 101,000 to 102,000. And technically speaking, the trend on the daily time frame is still currently bullish, because at least for now we've not yet confirmed any trend reversal signal to confirm a new bearish trend. So at least for now, of course, I'm still in the larger long position, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But if we're taking a look at the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, for now the price of Bitcoin is currently bouncing from this exact level of support, which I talked about over the last 1 to 2 days here, which is of course sitting at around 106.9k, so just under 107,000, acting as the key support to pay attention to. And so obviously, first of all, a few days ago, before we saw this rejection, I said expect resistance at close to 110,000, and that's exactly where we rejected from right here. And then of course, previous resistance and also previous support usually becomes new support again if we see a pullback here. So like I said, at 110,000, expect a lot of support at just under 107,000, close to 107,000, and currently that's exactly where we are bouncing from. And so honestly, when it comes to support and resistance, just continue to expect support and resistance at the same levels that I've already been saying over the last few days. So once again, support at close to 107,000 and just under 107,000, and resistance at close to 110,000, and also at around 112,000 if we break through 110k. And there is the possibility that in the shorter term, maybe for a couple of days, we could remain somewhat range bound in between this support and this resistance, simply based on the fact that previously the price did stay range bound for a few days in this exact same price range, obviously bouncing between support and resistance. So keep that in mind. That is a possibility just in the shorter term, but I don't necessarily expect the price to stay in this range for multiple days or multiple weeks, potentially just for another 1 or 2 days maybe. But ultimately, those are the levels of support and resistance to pay attention to on this chart right here in the shorter term. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, obviously right now we're continuing to see more liquidity building just above the price of Bitcoin, mainly sitting at close to 112,000. So basically at around that all-time high level and just above the all-time high. And now in the immediate short term, we don't really have a lot of liquidity immediately above the price of Bitcoin in between, let's just say the current price and 110k. We don't really have a lot of liquidity in that area. But as the price of Bitcoin continues a little bit more of a bounce here, especially as we approach around 110k, and especially if we break through 110k, it'll be extremely likely that following that sort of move, we'll simply continue up towards 112,000 to take out that liquidity. Because as always, there's no such thing as a 100% guarantee, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity, and that's exactly what we saw back here. Obviously, the price of Bitcoin dumped to the downside to take out the downside liquidity, which is obviously obviously what I said before we saw that perfect move play out. And so right now I'm saying the exact same thing, just in the opposite direction, pointing towards another bullish move, especially if we break through 110k. Once again, still expect some resistance, some struggle around that level in particular, but especially if we can break through that level, it's extremely likely the price will continue towards the all-time high to take out this liquidity. And so with all of that being said, what is my trading strategy for the price of Bitcoin? And well, as I just said earlier, I'm still in the Bitcoin long position, the larger swing trade, because at least for now, and as I've said every day over the last 1 to 2 months, I am bullish on the trend for the price of Bitcoin. Of course, during the bullish trend, we can see periods of short-term cool-offs and short-term pullbacks along the way during a bullish trend, just like how during a bearish trend, we can see bullish reliefs along the way towards the downside. And so overall, considering we've not confirmed any change in the trend over the last 1 day, I'm still in the larger swing trade here, the long position for the price of Bitcoin. And over the last 1 day, I've made no new changes to this position. So you can see my realized profits have not really changed at all over the last 1 day. And you can also see my stop loss is sitting at the same level it was sitting at yesterday. So once again, no new changes here. And I continue to basically hold this trade open as the price continues further towards the upside. And then even in the worst case scenario, if the price just crashes for whatever reason, it will hit the stop loss at that level and close the trade automatically at that level in profits. And as I've said many times here on the channel, if the price continues in the bullish direction and this trade moves further and further into profits, I'll just slowly move the stop loss further and further into profits. But once again, over the last 1 day, no new changes here. But if you want to get set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, like what I'm doing right here for Bitcoin, then of course you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on 2bit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example, up to $50,000 you can actually claim using the link below this video just by trading crypto. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can also get a $30 sign up bonus and a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus, but only if you use that link. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also BTNX as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video. And if you use that link, you can get some massive trading bonuses over here as well. Like for example, up to $45,000 into your BTNX account just by using that link to trade crypto, and also deposit bonuses. Like for example, if you deposit $1,000, you also get a $200 bonus over here as well. So you might as well get set up ready to go on these exchanges to take advantage of these trading bonuses here. And once again, these bonuses are only available if you use the links below this video to make your account. And of course, BTNX, in case you're wondering, is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and right now Ethereum is still currently struggling around this golden pocket area of resistance, still sitting in between roughly 2.7k to 2.8k. And so obviously we've not really seen a lot of confirmation here to actually confirm the breakout above this resistance. As I explained in my last video, ideally I'd like to see more confirmation to actually be confident in this breakout here. But of course, if you're using the 2.7k level as the breakout point, as the point of resistance, considering previously that's where we've seen most of the rejections at close to 2.7k rather than 2.8k, if you're using that level as the resistance level, it's possible we've already confirmed the breakout and we're now in the retest phase. So if we now hold above 2.7k and bounce from this level and actually see a bit more of a bounce here over the coming days, then this could potentially confirm the bullish breakout. But ideally, I'd like to see the price also hold above 2.8k to actually be more confident in this bullish breakout here for the price of ETH. And in that situation, if we can see more confirmation, as I just explained there, if we see those confirmation signals actually confirm over the coming days, in that situation, that will set up a bullish price target at close to 3.6k based on this being a bull flag pattern, a bullish flag pattern. But before 3.6k, we also have this resistance in between around 3.2k to 3.3k. And so this is a possible trading opportunity that we could take here. Obviously, if the price confirms the breakout, that could potentially be a signal to open a long position. As always, not financial advice. I'm just sharing an example of a trading opportunity, an example of a trading strategy. So in that example, obviously a long position breaking out towards the upside here would make profits as the price continues towards the price target. And then I'd potentially take profits at around key resistance it closer towards the price target as well, just slightly reducing the size of the trade at each of these levels. And of course, if we confirm the breakout here, and then if we break back to the downside below 2.7k with candle closes below that level, in that situation, that would invalidate the breakout towards the upside and invalidate the price target, and therefore that would invalidate the trade. So I would have a stop loss just below the point of invalidation in that worst case scenario. It would basically just take a small loss and avoid further losses in the worst case scenario here. And then in this example, if the trade moves further into profits, I'll just slowly move my stop loss further into profits so that in the worst case scenario, I still make profits. And so obviously that's pretty much the exact same trading strategy that I had for Bitcoin, which I shared here on the channel over a month ago, very transparently when I was taking this trade. And obviously over the last few weeks, over the last 1 month, give or take, it has been making some decent profits as I've been sharing here on the channel very transparently. And so this is potentially a similar opportunity for Ethereum. But once again, as I explained in my last video, we've not really seen a lot of confirmation to confirm the breakout. So personally, I'm still waiting for more confirmation to actually confirm this breakout here before opening a long position. And so once again, that's just an example of a trading strategy that personally has served me very well time and time again over many years in the crypto market. And if we're taking a look at the daily Ethereum price chart on this chart right here, we can see higher highs confirmed in the price and lower highs potentially starting to confirm in the daily RSI. Now, technically speaking, we have seen one candle close in the red on the daily time frame, which is one small confirmation of the bearish divergence, but still not really a lot of confirmation here because we've only seen a very, very slight rejection in the RSI. What I like to see is a stronger rejection like this to actually be more confident that a lower high is put in place. And so for now, we're kind of just in no man's land waiting to see more confirmation of either a breakout above this resistance or more confirmation to confirm this bearish divergence. So the coming days for the price of ETH will be very important to tell us what is most likely going to happen over the next few weeks. And so definitely keep an eye on these two charts over the next few days here. And of course, stay subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important trading opportunities, which I'm sharing here on the channel to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market. And with that being said, taking a look at Solana on the daily time frame, Solana is also struggling around key short-term resistance, sitting at close to 167. And obviously the price of Solana pretty much perfectly rejected from that 167 level, but we also have significant support to pay attention to in between around 143 to 146. And I would also expect some short-term support at around 158, give or take. But despite the fact that Solana is struggling around this exact level of resistance that I've been warning about, technically speaking, this bullish divergence on the 8-hour time frame is not yet fully invalidated. So technically speaking, it is still currently active, which means overall we're still within this bullish relief, which means we should be expecting either a bit more of a bullish relief or at the very least a bit of some choppy sideways price action like this, for example. And so those are my expectations in the shorter term. So not necessarily a lot of bearish price action, either neutral to bullish, but also struggling around this key resistance. And then once we can see a confirmed breakout above 167 to continue the bullish relief, in that situation, expect a continued move up towards 180 and also at around 184 as the next key points of resistance. And so overall, not a lot has changed for Solana over the last one day. We're simply just running into the exact resistance that I've already been saying for days now on the channel. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for XRP. Obviously, we're still technically within a bit of a bullish relief, but struggling around key resistance. So this resistance for XRP is sitting at roughly 234 to 235, give or take. And obviously to the nearest cent, that's pretty much exactly where the price rejected from. And so continue to expect the price to struggle at that level of resistance. But if we can ultimately break through that area of resistance, in that situation, expect more resistance at 244 and also at close to $2.60. And as for short-term supports, I'd expect some support at roughly 220, but the next significant area of support is really sitting in between roughly $2.05 to $2.10. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 8-hour XRP price chart, technically speaking, we've not yet fully seen any invalidation signal to invalidate this bullish divergence. So technically speaking, the bullish divergence is still active, which means we should continue to expect either a bit more of a bullish relief or at the very least some choppy sideways price action like this as the most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence. And so in other words, don't necessarily expect significant bearish momentum like this just in the next couple of days, because once again, the bullish divergence is still active, which means it's very unlikely we'll see significant bearish momentum in the next couple of days. And so ultimately, that is what I'm expecting for the price of XRP in the shorter term here. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Chainlink. Technically, we're still within this bullish relief, bouncing from significant support, but also now starting to struggle at this exact area of resistance that I've been warning about, which is still sitting in between 1490 to 1550. And obviously, based on the daily candle closes here, we rejected from pretty much exactly $15.50. And so overall, expect resistance and support at the exact levels that I've already been saying here on the channel for weeks now. Once again, support at 1280 and resistance at close to 1550. And if we can break through $15.50 with candle closes above that level and actually holding above that level, in that situation, we could find some short-term resistance at just above $16. So basically really close to $16 and also at around 1680. But the next significant area of resistance above 1550 is sitting at around 1750 approximately. And so ultimately, if the price of Chainlink first confirms a breakout above $15.50, that would significantly increase the probability that would continue a bullish move all the way up towards around 1750 to 1760. But overall, expect similar price action for Chainlink and most of these altcoins as to what I said earlier for Bitcoin. So once again, if Bitcoin is struggling around key resistance, but also seeing a slight little bounce, maybe playing out some choppy sideways price action in a bit of a range in the shorter term, expect something similar for most of the altcoins, like I've been saying throughout the video. And if we're taking a look at this 2-hour Chainlink price chart, just in the shorter term, obviously the price of Chainlink has perfectly played out this bearish divergence, which I warned about in my last video. Obviously, just yesterday, I said the price of Chainlink is getting extremely close to confirming this short-term warning signal, a bearish divergence, which will likely result in a bit of a pullback in the coming 1 to 2 days. And so obviously, since I recorded my last video, which was right around here, we ultimately confirmed not just one, but multiple candle closes in the red, which were multiple confirmations here. So by this point around here, obviously, we had confirmed the bearish divergence, which means we're most likely going to see a little bit more of a pullback, or at the very least, some sideways price action. So essentially not significant bullish price action. And that's exactly what we played out over the last 1 day. But I'll not necessarily rely on this bearish divergence for too much longer, considering it's only on the 2-hour time frame. So maybe it plays out over another few hours or another day, but don't necessarily expect this to play out over weeks and weeks, considering it's only on the 2-hour time frame. And so overall, those are my predictions for the crypto market and my exact Bitcoin trading strategy, showing you exactly how to make a lot of profits in the crypto market. And if you want to actually take these trades for yourself, once again, get set up ready to go using the links below this video to claim those extra bonuses. It's basically free money you can claim using the links below this video. And if you want to actually know how you can take trades just like this for yourself, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.